Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tip of the Week. Doing it this week from Montreal, and now for the next few Tip of the Weeks, I'm going to try to keep them short and sweet. We are kind of in the summer months now, and I think maybe less people are tuning in as they might be taking their vacations and so on, so I want to keep them pretty short so that people can catch up relatively easily when they get back from their vacations. So let's do this one. We're going to call this one now the data view. So I'll do this demonstration in Harmony, but we do have the data view, of course, available both in Animate and Animate Pro. So I just want to do a really quick example here to show you what the data view is and how it can be useful. I'll just do a really simple, on frame 1 I'll draw 1, and on frame 10 I'll draw 2, so I've got 2 different drawings to work with. Maybe let's do 3, let's do a number 3 as well. So when you're working in the timeline, as you're working, whether you're doing cutout or whether you're doing paperless, you're probably working with a timeline or an X sheet. And sorry, I've been doing some different stuff. I think I did some 3D stuff today, so I've got my workspace all funky. So let's just do a restore default workspace to get back to the default one there. And get myself back open. Okay, so most of the time you're probably working with the library, and you might be doing some drawing swaps here using your library view and the drawing substitution window. But there is this very useful little thing down here in your timeline. It's these 2 sort of arrows facing each other, and that when you mouse over it, it says show data view. And the data view is just a place where it's got some additional information. So when you're on a drawing layer that has drawings on it, it shows you the name of the drawing. So here's the name of the drawing layer, and then here's the name of the actual drawing within the drawing layer. So I can see as I mouse over the different ones, now I've got drawing number 2 showing the same as it will show in my drawing substitution window on the library. So if I want to, let's say I want to go here in the middle and I want to swap to frame 3, I could swap by dragging on the slider here in the library, but I can also swap by dragging on the slider here in the data view, or I can double click on that number and I can actually type the number in there if I want to swap, let's say, to drawing 2 there instead. So that's just you know, something to give you a hint of another way of working there. When you have functions on a drawing, so let's say for example if I have a peg layer on this and maybe I want to put some keyframes, so I'll have a keyframe where this drawing is sort of to the left a little bit, and I'll have another keyframe later on where the drawing moves over to the right. Then if you click on the plus sign down here, the data view will also show you some information on the functions that are attached to this drawing. So in this case I've got a 3D path, and because I've got the 3D path on the peg, it shows the path here and the velocity, and then you get the different scale, rotation, skew, that sort of thing. So what's interesting about the data view though is that 2 things are interesting. The first thing is that it actually shows you the values for the current frame. So, you know, as you mouse through here, you can see those changing, which I find very useful. The other thing is that you can add keyframes directly in here. So, for example, I could add a keyframe on the scale X, and I could actually change the value directly in here if I want to. And maybe the scale isn't a good example of why you'd want to do that, but sometimes you want to just quickly add and remove keyframes, and you might know exactly the value that you want to do. Like a lot of times when you're doing effects, like maybe you're doing blurs and you want to kind of just you know, make that effect oscillate a little bit, then you can go in there, create keyframes, blah 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 blah, on you go, and then you can just plop the numbers in there, and it's really fast. So that's it for my quick demo on the data view, and I'll see you guys next week.